Usain Bolt!
Cleveland! This is for you!
Remember the name!
Sports Talk Zone. Welcome back. I'm Ranaja.
This is Mikhail.
And this is another week of Sports Talk Zone where sports is life. Today's episode is brought to you by Brina Boutique. For all your fitness apparels and gym accessories in all sizes, contact Brina Boutique on Instagram at Brina_Boutique876. All right, let's start off this week again with some football, Mikhail. EFL Cup, Liverpool versus Arsenal. They played to a 0-0 draw. Arsenal went down to 10 men in the 24th minute. Liverpool couldn't manage to get a lead going into the second leg. What did you think of this game?
Liverpool totally dominated Arsenal in this one, and as you said, they were able to capitalize on their 11-man advantage that they had over Arsenal. I don't know, are they missing the great Mo Salah and Mane, because we know they're out due to the African Cup of Nations, but based on the squad of the team that they have, they should have been able to put them away, because they actually had 17 shots, but unfortunately only one on target. They had 79% possession, and they were just basically outplaying Arsenal, but it was just unfortunate. They just didn't get to score that goal or goals, give them the advantage, as I said, going into the game. And the reverse will be at Arsenal, and we know home advantage, what that can do. So Liverpool kind of being on the back foot based on this position, but I know the quality that Liverpool possess, they will overcome. I think they'll win the next leg.
Well, I will not be as confident as you about Liverpool going to the second leg. Currently, I think the way Arsenal is playing, they can actually beat Liverpool at the Emirates. Watching this game, what I saw was a Liverpool team that drastically need some quality backup players in the forward position. A drop off from Mane and Salah when you look at someone like a Minamino and a Bobby Firmino, who is currently not at his best, right? It was a significant drop off in those positions, and it showed, because as I said, 17 shots, only one shot on target, so many half chances, and maybe I would say maybe two clear-cut chances that normally if that fell to a Mo Salah, you know, that's definitely a goal. And we just couldn't take those chances, and that showed that right now Liverpool definitely need some quality players in those areas to eventually back up Salah and Mane in a situation like this now where they are out of the team. They can still keep up that level of performance. And I must say all praises and respect goes out to Arsenal, because they played immensely well with 10 men, very organized, defend excellently, they play with heart. They were very committed to ensuring that they leave Anfield with a draw or a win with 10 men on the pitch, and you have to give them their credit and props for that. So yeah, shout out to Arsenal for the way they play. Liverpool needed to do better. Second leg coming up. I am not 100% confident like you about Liverpool going through. I can see Arsenal going through, but you just never know. In one-off games, anything can happen. I would not bet convincingly on Liverpool winning at the Emirates. All right, let's keep it within the Liverpool territory for a bit. Mo Salah contract will be up in 2023. He is currently rumored to be seeking £300,000 per week, and it seems like they're at a standstill in negotiation with the club. What you see will be coming from this negotiation? Mo Salah stated that he wants to remain in Liverpool, but it's in the hands of the club. They know what he wants. He's not asking for crazy stuff. So what do you think?
Based on the rumors out there, we're saying that it is estimated that Salah wants somewhere between 300 to 400,000 a week, and he's currently getting paid 200,000. What you have to look at, based on what Mo Salah has done or is doing, he's currently one of the best player, if not the best player in the world right now. And to want a pay increase or salary increase, you can't fight him for that. He should be getting paid what he's worth. And if you are to take a look at what some of the other star-studded players are actually making a week, for instance, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mbappe, Because remember, you have to compare him with the best because he's actually one of the best. Even Lewandowski, look at what they're making. So nothing is wrong with him asking for this. And if Liverpool are not willing to pay, are unable to pay, I'm sure that he'll be leaving this summer. But where will he go? That is the next question. Is it those big clubs? Well, we know he can't go to Barcelona. So is it Madrid or will it be a next team in England? I doubt it will be PSG. So that's another thing.
What I would say about this is this would be the most unforgiving decision ever in Liverpool history if they allow Mo Salah to leave the club over a few £100,000. If you look in the English Premier League, there are so many players that are not even in the same conversation as Mo Salah that get way more money than him. And the amount of things Salah has done for Liverpool over the 5 years he has been there is definitely worth getting whatever he's asking for. If he is even asking for £500,000 weekly, he needs to get that. And I understand that he's approaching 30. And in sports, when you start reach that age, it is unlikely for you to get those big contracts unless you're like a Messi or a Ronaldo, where people see you as like the greatest of all time. So I understand that. But when you look at the track record of Salah, there's no way this shouldn't even be a negotiation. You say he wants that, they just give it to him. 2-time Golden Boot winner. At one point, we could say Salah was the only person literally carrying Liverpool on his back as far as goal scoring was concerned, because at moments Mane and Roberto Firmino couldn't find goals and it was just Salah. So there's no way there should be even a discussion of him saying like they don't want to give him his money. Like, come on, man. You look at the other people in the Premier League. Lukaku, Jack Grealish, Raheem Sterling, Kante, Pogba, Werner, Aubameyang, Sancho. All these players getting more money than Salah. So, and in my opinion, the only person maybe in this league that should be paid more than Salah is Cristiano Ronaldo. Nobody else.
Kevin De Bruyne?
Not even Kevin. Currently? No, not even Kevin De Bruyne. Only Cristiano Ronaldo.
What I'll say though, we don't know what is the club finances, and probably they're saying that maybe they can.
Liverpool is a very stingy club. We know that. They don't like to spend money, right? It is about making money for them, which is understandable. It's a business, right?
Exactly.
But come on, man. At some point, you have to pay people what their true value is. And Salah is not worth £200,000 a week.
I agree.
And that's just the fact. Pay that man his money. That is that simple. And let us be able to focus on football. We shouldn't even be discussing that. All right, so let's jump on to the English Premier League. Manchester City versus Chelsea. Big game of the day. Manchester City with a brilliant strike from Kevin De Bruyne beat Chelsea 1-0. What do you think about that game?
Dominant performance by City yet again. As you would have said prior to now, look like City actually gone with the league at this point in time. Because they're 13 points ahead, and it's really hard to see them losing that much game to let anyone catch them. Even though Liverpool still have 2 games in hand, but with a game in hand, anything is likely, because you can lose those games, not necessarily you must be a must-win. So.
Exactly. And even if Liverpool win those 2 games in hand, beat City, they'll still be 5 points behind City. So City,
yeah, we need City to have some serious upsets along the way, because as I say, regardless of who the opponents are right now, City is just moving everybody out the way. Even though after 0-0 going into it, you probably think that, yeah, maybe Chelsea could hold off for a draw, or who's to tell what could have happened. But
a draw would have been so helpful.
City just, winners find ways to win.
Facts.
But I didn't want it to be over so early. I wanted this season to be a down the wire right to the end, based on evil, because one at a time we thought Chelsea was the clear-cut favorite of the league. Then it was Liverpool. Then it was City. But since City found form, they just keep on going, and haven't lost form.
What I will say is this proved time and time again that Manchester City is indeed the best team in English Premier League. They are a cut above the rest. Is Manchester City, then Chelsea and Liverpool. Manchester City is in a class by themselves. I don't think Liverpool and Chelsea is in the same class as a Manchester City, especially how they played Chelsea today. In my opinion, I understand the way how Chelsea came out to play a bit more defensive, trying to catch City on the counter-attack. You don't want to play them too aggressive and open up too much space for them to attack. Understandable. But the way how City controlled the game, even though Chelsea was defending well, you knew at some point, you knew that they were going to find a goal and that things would have changed in the game. And that's exactly what happened. And what I will also say about this Chelsea team, I think the manager have to realize that when he has these big games, he cannot play Lukaku. I don't care what he feel about Lukaku. Lukaku is not cut out for big moment games. It's not in him. If you look at his track record, when it comes to big games, he underperforms significantly. It's not in him. Understand?
Yeah,
so I was surprised to see Mason Mount on the bench. I was very surprised to see that. I would have taken out Lukaku and play Mason Mount and use Pulisic as my like a false nine or striker, whatever you want to use him as. I am telling you, Lukaku is not cut out for big games. Think about all the big games that he has played in so far this season, except for the Arsenal game when he just came back to the league. And you could argue that that Arsenal team wasn't even a big game. Arsenal was really a team that was trying to find them way at the time. But think about the teams that have solidified themselves and see if he has done anything significant in those games.
No, man, it has been his track record, even not just this season, but in previous season while he was in the Premier League. It was always said when he scores, his record against the top 6 teams are very poor. He doesn't really score against them, but he'll score against everybody else. That has always gone against him, but probably years of developing and improving, maybe that's why the coach went ahead with him, thinking that, hopefully he'll be able to find the net today, but unfortunately he didn't.
He was poor. He was poor, and I hope is an eye-opener to the coach. He's not cut out for these games. You have players that are cut out for these games, and you have players who are not. Believe me, Lukaku is not cut out. Good player, very good player, but not in these big moment games, I promise you. So, yeah, to me, City gone with the league. I don't see anywhere or how they will be able to drop that amount of points and lose from here on. They would have to go through a significant, terrible run of form for them to lose the league from here on out. 13 points ahead. I would pretty much say it's over. Any other team that here on out is looking for second, third, and fourth, just to finish in the top 4, to be honest. Let's talk about the game that I think was the most exciting game of the day. Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Finishes 2-2. Manchester United went up 2-0, a brace from Bruno Fernandes. Aston Villa came back, a goal from Ramsey and a goal from newly signed loan player Philippe Coutinho. What did you think of this game?
Boy, this result was a shocker to me because right up until 78th minute, I was there saying 2-0, Mane was going to ease out and just finish the game off, see it out. Then I saw, as I said, the goal from Ramsey and then Philippe Coutinho coming on as a substitute, scoring that goal, drawing. Almost it's like a defeat to United. I tell you, that's how it felt. It's not even like a draw because at no way, no point. Persons might say, yes, Manchester United, 2 goals came off error by Aston Villa. But at that point, 2-0 up against the Aston Villa team, I believe that Manchester United being the team that they should be, they should have able to see that one out. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. They made some substitution trying to go for the win, but unfortunately, they were not able to. I don't know. They're just saying Manchester United just not good enough. Don't know what needs to happen. Something needs to change. They have changed coach. Another day in the office for United at this point in time.
What I would say is that Manchester United was very fortunate today. In the first half, they were slightly the better team. I think that Aston Villa had better chance in the first half, but overall, Manchester United was slightly the better team. But the second half came around, total different football game. Aston Villa dominate the second half. Chances up on top of chances, constant pressure on United. Eventually the goals came and you could just see the whole spirit of the United team change. And what I would say about this game is that it shows that this has nothing really to do with the coach, because earlier in the game you could see like the organization, the pressing of United, everything seemed like something that they practice in training. But as soon as the game started to get more pressure in and the goal eventually came, they went away totally from that. It was like all over the place now. They making a lot of bad passes, a lot of nervous decision making, all of these kind of things. So as I had said last week, I think it has a lot to do with the mentality of the players. It's not really the coach anymore. It has to be the players. No way it should be Manchester United be 2-0 up against Aston Villa and end up fighting to ensure that the game was drawn. So that was my takeaway from the game today. Did you happen to see the interview that Ronaldo did this week with Sky Sports?
Yes, I did, and as you would have stated a while ago, the mentality of the players, and in that interview Ronaldo alluded to that because
speak very
he constantly stated that there's something needs to change at the club. He said he knows what to change, but he cannot come and say it here out in the public. You know, being a professional player and being signed to the club, it will seem very tardy and unprofessional for him to come and state what he says. And he constantly said it about 10 times. Something needs to change. Something needs to change.
He kept on referring to mentality. He did say exactly mentality. And the club need to be right.
He said coaches new, need to give him some time, and he has saying it has nothing to do with the systems or anything of that sort. So I'm wondering, what is it? What is this thing that needs to change?
He says it's the mentality. He said you can have all the system, you can have the coach telling you what to do, but if you as an individual don't look at yourself and say I need to do better and have a better mentality towards the game, then nothing will change. And it comes back to how I'm telling you about the game today. When United just came out on the pitch, when the game just started, they were pressing in a very organized manner. They were passing the ball around, everything was smooth, going good, great. And as soon as they started to get back that pressure from Aston Villa and the goals came, has begun to drop. People started to make bad decisions. They went away from what seemed to be drilled into them at practice. I know everyone is seemed like they were trying to do their own thing. And Ronaldo alluded to it. He stated it pretty much that the mentality at the club needs to be right. And he said even if he talks to a player or whatever about being better and any form of criticism to help them improve, it will still be up to the player to decide within himself if he wants to. It still boils down to players and their mentality. And obviously it seemed like the players at United don't want to be better. Even though they are talented, they don't want to be better.
There's something going on in the dressing room.
Most likely.
But I think it has to do a lot with the amount of players that they have and who is not getting playing time, because I saw an article where it is being said that the coach came out and said that Martial does not want to play or refuse to play. And then Martial came out and put on his Instagram story, I will never refuse to play a match for United. I have been here for 7 years and I will never disrespect the club and the fans. But yet still, you have a news article saying by the coach that he says he doesn't want to play again. So a lot of stuff is happening behind the scene.
Exactly. And he also stated that he wanted to leave this transfer window. There were Sevilla that was coming in for him on a loan move, but it looked like it was blocked by Manchester United. And it's understandable if you're at a club and you're not getting enough game time. You want to go somewhere else where you can actually get to play, especially if the club that you're at is not doing exceptionally well. So that makes a lot of sense. And Ronaldo said it. He did not come back to United to play for 6th and 7th.
Mm-hmm.
He's here to challenge for title. And the furthest United should be is 2nd or 3rd. So I can understand a player being frustrated being at a club that's supposed to be a winning club but the club is not winning, and then you're not even getting the chance to play. Very understandable. All right, let's get to some cricket now. England managed to pull off brilliant draw in the fourth test against Australia in the Ashes. I did not see that coming. I thought they would have lost that game, but for some reason they managed to pull a cat out the bag and got a draw. What do you think of that last day in the fourth test?
England, as I say, pulling off a miracle. A lot of persons bashed in Australia, probably batting too long and didn't give themselves enough time to bowl at England. But based on the context of the game, wanting Khawaja to make his 100 in the second innings, I guess that's why they continued to bat. And because it was shortly after he made his 100 and they lost a wicket, then they basically declared. But I guess Australia thought that they had enough firepower because nobody would have expected what to happen because based on how the series are go, put them into bat and bowl them out for little or nothing.
Yeah, I would not bash them. England held on by the skin of their teeth.
Exactly. Good effort on the part of England. They drew a match without it actually being rain. Because we said probably only rain could help save them. So, but a little bit too late, and hats off to them. But at least we got 5 days of cricket, and it was very, I wouldn't say competitive, but compared to that innings defeat that we're used to, it is a better showing. But yeah. Yeah,
hats off to them, man. Hats off to getting a result in the series, because we had said that it was basically impossible for them. So hats off to them for that. So nothing great about their performance, only that they eventually in the end of that inning show some great. Stokes, as usual, shown some grit and kept them in the game in order for them to eventually get that draw. The fifth test is currently going on. Australia in the first innings made 303, and they are currently now at 64 for 6, and England made 188 in their first innings. Can England manage to bowl Australia out and get this total, maybe a total of maybe 220 or something like that, and get that, or even less?
I'll say this: if England are able to bowl out Australia in this second innings for a little bit of runs, when Australia go to bowl, they're gonna bowl out England for less than what they bowl them out for. Because, as I said, the number one test bowler in the world, Pat Cummins. But it looked like Mark Wood is finding a bit of form in these last two matches.
He's bowling well, fast.
Exactly. And sticking up them with some sharp balls. Yes. Because even how he out Khawaja in the first innings of this match was basically trying to duck from a ball, and it touched his gloves and went and out caught. But yeah, what I was saying, based on how the game set up, it looked like England will probably bowl out Australia for a small total, maybe 100 and little. But based on the lead that they have, I think that Australia will get over 200, and it will be a task. Exactly. It is very rare that your second innings total is better than your first innings. Not impossible, very rare. With the wicket deteriorating, we know that it is harder to bat in the second innings, and Australia with their world-class bowling, I don't think they will overcome. But as I said, let's see what will happen.
Let's move on to Virat Kohli stepping down as India Test captain after a 2-1 defeat against South Africa. What do you think about that?
Well, it has been 7 years, and he has been one of the most successful Test captains overall, probably behind maybe Ricky Ponting and Graham Smith. I don't know if it's based on the result of this series why he's actually stepping down, or maybe he thinks that his time has come. Do you think the outcome of the series prompted his decision to step down?
Yes, to an extent it did, but also I think he was having some issues with the BCCI, and I think eventually he was going to step down at some point from the captaincy, because he had stepped down from the T20 captaincy. They took away the ODI captaincy from him. So he was having issues. There was a lot of misunderstanding between him and the board. And I think it all boiled over now. Hence the reason why he's stepping down. Because losing this series, I don't think that created a stain on the legacy and what he has done overall as captain for the India test team. But he's also not in the best of form too. So that is also a factor. I personally think the reason for stepping down, in my opinion, is because he's not doing so well with the bat and the fact that he's having issues with the board. I think that's the main thing. It's not so much about losing this series.
Yeah, probably, as I said, to focus on his batting and hopefully find a better form. And because I've realized it, especially with a lot of greats at times because I remember when Chris Gayle was even captain in West Indies, and it's like his form was deteriorating. I don't know what happens at time for some persons. It's not easy as some persons might think. Yes, you're able to bat, but when you have other things to think about, you can't just focus mainly on what you're there for, the battle.
Exactly. And you got to understand, especially with teams like India, that winning is extremely important and performance also is very important while being captain. You cannot be the captain underperforming and still expect to be in the team, because he hasn't made a century since 2019. And he's averaging over that period of time, I think, a little bit under 30. And that I promise you, India have many other batsmen that will do better than that. So I think that is the main thing that prompt his decision. The fact that his batting, I don't want to say deteriorating, but he's not in the best of form. And also the trouble he's having with the board. So you get that out his head and just can be able to focus on just playing cricket. All right, let's move on to West Indies. The new selection panel for West Indies, Desmond has been appointed as West Indies men's lead selector. Ramner Saran has been added to the selection panel for the men's senior and youth level team. Was this a good appointment? And do you believe that now that Sarwan is a part of the selection panel, it's rolled over for the Universe boss? Because remember, they had a little dispute.
Regardless if it's Sarwan there, the time for the Universe boss in the West Indies has come to an end. As the last team that was selected going into this Ireland, they said this is the best team that we have currently based on who is available. And he was available and he was not selected. So I'm just saying, I don't know. Let's see who they select or what their eyes will be, because for far too long we keep on seeing persons being selected, not necessarily based on performance. We'll see persons perform exceptional in regional tournaments and not be selected. So as I always said, to me, it's best to allow the coach to pick his team rather than having persons select players who they want to play and then you have to coach them. But that's just my thought on that. But let's see who these persons select. I can't say if it will be good or bad. Just hope for the best.
I personally think it is good to have like people who actually had great careers in West Indies cricket being a part of the selection process. And as you said, the coach is very essential and necessary to be a part of that, because he knows the type of players he can work with and he would want. It is kind of crazy that at first, as what you was telling me, is that the coach, they select the players and give them to the coach and just say, coach these players. That is madness. The coach have to have a say. So yeah, the way they have put it together now would make way more sense, and I would expect West Indies to eventually pick better talents and get better on from here, and not so much of like trying to live in the past with a lot of older guys who have already done their time on surface and pretty much can't serve us anymore. All right, let's talk about the second ODI versus Ireland. West Indies made 229 all out. Ireland made 168 for 5. They won by 5 wickets on the Duckworth-Lewis method. What was your takeaway from this game?
You know, in all my years of watching cricket, I'm yet to still understand this Duckworth-Lewis method system that they...
Most of us don't know.
West Indies were in a horrible position, and thanks to Ramaria Shepherd and Odin Smith,
yes,
they were able to get decent total, not anything great, but something that is not as horrible, because we're bound to score like in the 100, like maybe
We were
150 or
100
so.
and we were 111 for 7.
So yeah, if we were at that point, if we had made 150, we'd be glad. But then we were able to make that 229. But these persons are recently new addition to the team, so I can see that as being a positive. Romario Shepherd making his maiden 50, and as I would have said, these persons are similar type of players to Mr. Reliable. I'm saying so. Even if he's not there, we have players of similar nature. So yeah, but this now what I like about this third match, all to play for. That's the good thing about it. So we need better performance. We need everybody to click, especially the vice captain. We need him to click. We need a big performance from him. We need our bowlers to put bowling better. Because I'm still not impressed in that section of our cricket. So
the bowling.
We need some better. Yeah, we need some better performance by our bowlers.
I am going to take away mainly the positives from this game. Yes, the performance wasn't the best overall with bat nor ball, but when you're looking at this team, fairly inexperienced team, besides Asheo, Puran, and Pollard, I don't think we have much more players who are very experienced. So I would look at this and see a player like Shamar Brooks, who made his debut recently, came in, made 90 plus, came again in the second game and made a very good 40 odd. That's some positive. Just need now to bat on and carry on and get centuries. Yeah, but at the back end of the innings, as you mentioned earlier, a person like Odin Smith, Romario Shepherd, these are all-rounders who can actually get the ball away and also come and give you a good spell here and there. So these are players that I am looking that we are going to take into the future and develop into better cricketers. That's the positive I'm taking away from the game. Yeah, the bowling wasn't up to par, the batting wasn't up to par overall. Shea Hope looked like he's in a little slump. I don't know what's going on with him. He's the guy that we normally would be relying on to get us off to a good little start. No Lewis. I don't know why. Still wondering why there is no Lewis. Do you know why there is no Lewis?
No.
Yeah.
They didn't say.
So what I'm looking at with the introduction, hopefully the introduction of Lewis, and God's willing, if Edmire take his fitness serious and end up being a part of the team again, I can see where this team can gel and be better, and eventually we can start move up the rankings. But overall, not a great performance, but there are positives that I think we could take away from this game. All right, let's jump into some basketball. The Brooklyn Nets, they are able to play Kyrie Irving at home, but playing him at home will cause them to pay fines. Should they be okay with paying these fines in order to get Kyrie to play?
At this point in time, I would say no, not necessary, unless probably if you're at the finals, at the playoff, you need him. But right now, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't think it makes sense for them to actually pay these fines in order for him to play. It would set a bad precedence overall for me.
What about if they make it to the playoffs? Is it okay now to pay these fines?
If you're at the finals, and
only final.
Yeah, I would say at that point, probably, pay them. To me, look at it. Isn't he around the team right now as it is? So whatever you're trying to prevent.
We already agreed that the whole rule and mandate thing is nonsense. But we were just saying that if it was going off a championship, you wanted a chip, wouldn't it be by any means necessary?
I would say so, yes, but as I'm saying, we're far away from that because you playing him now.
I would not play him in the regular. I would not play him in the regular season in home games. That's okay. You think your two guys supposed to be able to take care of that?
Yeah.
Even though tonight, Kevin Durant sprained his knee, but overall, I think they're good enough to take care of business at home. But when it comes down to the playoff, I'm definitely paying that fine to play. You need all hands on deck in the playoff.
Probably in the conference then to the final, but they should make it there. If they can't make it there, then so be it.
Who you think is going to come out of the East? The Brooklyn Nets, Chicago Bulls, Milwaukee Bucks, who slaughtered the hell out of the Golden State Warriors, or the Miami Heat?
All right, so this season is a very interesting one, and honestly, based on history and what we know with the NBA, a team may look flashy, but experience
Matters.
is a lot. Exactly, it is very critical. So the Bulls are young and nice and look exciting and playing very well, but when it comes down to the playoff, it's a whole different ball game. And probably based on what is happening, I'm putting it between the Nets and Milwaukee. And right now, Giannis looking like maybe he'll get his third MVP. So I might go with the Bucks at this point in time. I might just say the Bucks because they have had some experience. They're the defending champion. They know what it takes to get there. So probably the Bucks.
Okay, I would say the Heat. I think the Heat.
Wow.
What's wrong with this guy? I would say the Heat. I think the Heat, when they are fully healthy, is the best team in the East. And as they continue to play more together and gel more together, eventually they will become the most dominant team in the East. So my pick for the East would be the Heat, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt too.
Do you think the Heat can beat the Brooklyn Nets?
They have done it before. What are you talking about?
In a series.
In a series, yeah. If the
Not one game.
the best Heat team play against the Brooklyn Nets, fully healthy Heat team play against the Brooklyn Nets, the Heat's beating the Brooklyn Nets 4-2.
With a
4
fully
games to 2.
healthy Nets team, right?
Facts, yeah, 4-2. Kevin Durant, Harden, Allen, Kyrie, all of them. Yep, 4-2.
Okay. I like the confidence.
Facts. All right, what about the West? Who you think coming out the West? Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, who you be sleeping on, who showed your team up the other night, the Utah Jazz, and I don't know why I have the Lakers here. I just put them here.
So then I'll say the Lakers are coming out the West, but I'm kidding. Unless they get their act together, but not as it currently is, but because I don't even know if they'll actually even make it to the playoffs.
All right, they're a play-in team.
Yeah, and if they're a playing team, and even if they do make it through that, you'll end up playing probably
The best
Golden
stuff,
State
yeah.
or Phoenix. So if
Exactly.
you would want, you'll probably be out the first round just like last season.
Exactly.
But coming out of the West as it is right now, probably think it Golden State, even though since Curry has broken the record, he has been in a bit of slump, and I think that is kind of help other teams now overcoming Golden State. But I know they're a great player, they'll overcome. Every team have their little slump, and everybody know once the Golden State Warriors fully fit, it's almost next to impossible to beat them, especially when the chef is cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will go with Golden State Warriors too. Love the Grizzlies, but the reason I'm going with the Golden State Warriors is because currently they are kind of trying to find back chemistry. They're trying to work Clay back into the system, so that is also a factor. So Clay has been out for 2 years. So it was Curry, then you go to Wiggins, Jordan Poole. The lineup to who is the next man up was different compared to when Clay come back. So that adjustment have to be made. They are currently in that transition period where you're trying to figure back out how Clay fit back into the system and work back into the system and go. And as soon as they get that resolved, problem. So I agree with you. Definitely the Golden State Warriors out the West and the Heat out the East. Book it. And that concluded for another week of Sports Talk Zone. You can check us out on all streaming platforms and also on Instagram at Sports Talk Zone 876.